Hi, welcome to Rooted for Resilience. I'm Debbie. Here we talk about recovering, reclaiming, reimagining, and rebuilding your life after loss, transition, or other significant change. What I was thinking about today was what I wish I had known when I began this journey. And for me, it is about recovering from professional burnout. For you, it might be something different. We all have different points in our lives where we're going through changes and transitions. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit about my own experience and what I think might have made this a little bit easier for me. First of all, I wish I had just slowed down. I left a job and out of a place of fear, what I now know was fear and uncertainty and doubt, I felt like I needed to fill up. I had to find something else to do, right? I mean, there's the financial necessity of living. And so I thought I had to get something started right away. And what I didn't know was that I was not emotionally prepared for that, mentally prepared, physically prepared, spiritually prepared for to do any of that. So I think the first thing that I would suggest is if you're in that transition stage, give yourself permission to slow down. Things are going to unfold. Running around frantic like your hair is on fire isn't going to help you make good decisions, and it's certainly not going to help you rebuild the life that you feel like that you don't need to escape from. So that's the first thing, is just kind of slow down. And then the second thing is realizing that you're going to have to really examine old limiting beliefs, old behaviors, things about yourself that are going to need to change. And this is the hardest part for most folks, I think, as someone who's worked in mental health for a very long time. I know how difficult change can be. But when we're in turmoil, when we're going through transitions, we can't continue to live the same way, think the same way, do the same things, and expect our life to look different. Of course, there's a certain amount of consistency that we need so that we don't feel like we're just kind of a leaf in the wind, just blowing any which way. And we can ground ourselves with daily practices. For me, it happened to be meditation. That was one of the things that I started doing. I started hiking on a regular basis, moving my body. And that was very, very helpful in reclaiming and reconnecting with my own spirit. And when I was able to do that, I was able to rediscover a sense of hope and faith and trust and belief in myself, that I could make good decisions, that I could trust what my heart was telling me. So those are two things. You know, slow down and look at what you're carrying with you, right? And realize that you're going to need to make some changes. I think it was Einstein who said, you cannot solve a problem. What was it exactly? I wrote it down. Um, no problem can be solved at the same level of consciousness that created it. So that's the mind, right? My consciousness, my being, too, my spirit. I can't solve the problem that that mind created. I have to have a different level of consciousness. So that's the second thing. And the third thing that I think is really critical and important is that we don't do this alone. None of us recover in isolation, that we need connection. And when we're going through loss or change, we might need a period of introspection, a period of solitude, so that we can figure out what we want, what moves our heart and our spirit, and then start building a plan to get there. But we as humans are not designed to be isolated. Um, we're kind of a pack animal, right? We do better when we are connected with other people. And that connection is going to look different for everybody. And that is certainly the other thing to think about. What does it look like for you? What does connection look like for you? It can be connection online. Maybe that's you have connections with people online that fill your spirit with hope and joy and that sense of belonging. Okay, maybe it's your faith community that does that for you. Maybe you're in recovery from addiction, and that community supports you and nurtures you and grows you. Maybe it's your family that is your connection, or your group of friends. And I want to say something about pets, because people, pets are very important, and they do provide a sense of connection, but that's not the kind of connection I'm talking about. I'm talking about human to human connection. Doesn't have to be a big group of people, but you do need at least one. That's based on my years of experience as being a therapist. We all need at least one person that we can lean into when we have doubts about, did I do the right thing? Am I ever going to get through this? What's my life going to look like on the other side? I'm so full of fear. And, change is scary for everybody. It is difficult. It took me a long time to just allow myself the space to ease up on myself, to experience whatever it was I was going to experience, and know that I have to go at a pace that feels comfortable for me. I didn't know that in the beginning. I rushed into a bunch of things, and I made some pretty significant financial decisions that didn't work out well for me, because I was, again, trying to create a life with the same mindset that had created the burnout, and that just wasn't going to work. And there's other things that went along with that, of course. um, but I didn't wasn't really able at that period of burnout to really trust myself. And so I needed time to heal. I needed time to reconnect. I needed time to learn how to trust myself and my intuition again. So if you're going through change, loss, or transition, you know, just know that it is a process. You have to learn how to trust yourself again, trust your intuition, trust your heart, right? Trust your heart in guiding you and reconnecting with who you are on the inside, not what you do for a living, or not what you look like, or any of those kinds of things, but who your spirit is, right? Reconnecting with that part of yourself, because healing and change is body, mind, and spirit. We really need to pay attention to all of those things. So I hope this was helpful. Drop in the comments below, what do you wish you had known as you were going through change, transition, or loss? What kind of wisdom do you have to share with others? We want to create a sense of community here in Rooted for Resilience. All right, have a good day, and I'll see you soon.